If you're watching this video, you probably feel like you've made some bad decisions, and that's okay. We're human. I screw up all the time. But I urge you, instead of running away to the next video and hiding from yourself, you take a moment with me here and now just to rest. Because you don't know where those bad decisions came from, do you? You don't know where your good ones come from either. They're just thoughts. And from my own investigation, thoughts just pop up like hiccups and fade away, just like them too. I also need you to understand that any decision that you make in your life has infinite data to take into account, and that goes for whether it's as simple as should I drink tea or coffee, or should I go to university. Okay, social conditioning, subconscious mind, your emotions, whether or whether not you had breakfast this morning. It's impossible to take it all into account. I don't know a single person that can consider more than 3 variables without using a pencil. So what we have all come to understand as I, or me, meaning your conscious attention and intent, really plays a very small role in what actually goes on in your life and your environment. This video is to help you see that and also teach you how to never ever make a bad move ever again. So despite it being almost impossible, we still go through the motions, right? We grit our teeth and we get angry and sad and we spend ages thinking, should I, shouldn't I? I mean, if I do that and then that means that, and then when it comes to make the decision, we make a snap judgment and then we spend ages justifying it. I am speaking with some exaggeration. Sometimes we do get the rough idea of things, and we can make a decision on a rational basis. Isn't it extraordinary how often it does actually work out in our favour, considering all of these crazy variables that are inside us and outside us and that we have very little control over? And of course, when it does work in your favour, it's all down to your amazing planning and organisational skills. I mean, how could it be you, right? You're just this little thing, little poor me that's been subjected to life. Or at least that's how you view yourself. Well, back in 4000 to 6000 BCE China, there was a guy called Lao Tzu, and he put it like this: the great Tao flows both to the left and to the right, and it loves and nourishes all things. And when merits are achieved, it lays no claim to them. In other words, the more you relinquish power, the more you give it away and trust it, the more powerful you become. But not in the way you've been doing it, not in the way you've been wrestling your life. Right, I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Come on, 6 o'clock in the morning. No, do you realise you can just say to your nervous system, hey, I want to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And you close your eyes, go to sleep, and open them at 6 o'clock in the morning. It is really that simple. And it avoids all the violence and hassle of an alarm clock beeping in your ear and you waking up. This letting go and trust is the intelligence behind all complex systems. Okay? Democracy. What it does, instead of trusting any one part of its system's intelligence and reasoning, it trusts the whole thing to the largest data set possible. Okay, big business structures. If the CEO, say Jeff Bezos, had to go around telling each employee where to put each package, I would short the company, wouldn't you? It's just not feasible. It doesn't work. The human body. Your head doesn't tell your heart what to do, and your heart doesn't tell what your head to do. They just both go on doing their thing because it's what they're good at, and that whole thing creates you, this fantastically complex organism. So hopefully if you've watched this long, you see it. You see that this is important and you see that this is valuable. But how do you go about actually doing that? Well, that is what is taught to us by the philosophies of Taoism and Zen Buddhism. There was once a guy who asked a Zen monk, what is Zen? And just pro tip, you don't want to do that for fear of kimonos being inserted up rectal cavities. But the Zen monk took it in his stride, like they normally do, I suppose, and said, well, when I'm hungry, I eat. And when I'm tired, I sleep. And the guy goes, well, okay, don't we all do that? Like, that's just, what? And the Zen monk goes, no, when you're hungry, you worry about all sorts of stuff. And when you're tired, you sleep and dream all sorts of dreams. So, in other words, just go, just do it. No hang-ups, no critical analysis, just do what you're going to do because you're going to end up doing it anyway. For us Westerners in the modern world that have a crisis over submitting our 2 weeks' notice, that seems so reckless, right? And yeah, sure, it may be. You might make a bad gamble in the short term, but in the long term, you're trusting the intelligence of something that has thousands of years of evolutional backing. And when you do that, and you fully trust it, you will always land on your feet, like a cat, or like the patterns on this leaf. They're always beautiful on every leaf. Never makes a mistake. If you've ever had the pure luxury of being able to look up from your mobile device and find yourself at the seaside, and you've actually watched the waves for a while, you'll notice that there's little patterns in the foam. And these little patterns are exquisite, they're beautiful. And they never make an aesthetic mistake. You can sit there and watch them for hours and they'll never make a bad move. Do you ever make a bad move? It's a good question, right? And it is through this way of trusting what you consider to be you or I and your environment, as if it really was quite other than you, that you start to see and realise that you are completely inseparable from the whole show. You're part of it. If you've been feeling lost recently, like you don't know where you're going, or like everything you do just seems pointless, I urge you to click on the link in my bio. It's a coaching call where you'll speak one-on-one with me, and I'll guide you through the 4 quadrants of a Japanese philosophy called Ikigai. It's designed to help you reconnect with your life's purpose, and it will set you on a track to be able to dance the right dance in this show. With all that being said and done, thank you for watching this video, and thank you for taking the time for yourself. If you find these sort of check-ins valuable, then you know what buttons to click to make them a regular thing. Stay awake, stay free, stay sovereign. You get a nice little slurp at the end as well.